Welcome to 39-Minute Conversations. Please wait for your host to begin this meeting. Your meeting is now being recorded.
Okay, can you see me? Can you hear me? I can neither see or hear you yet, but I feel like it's coming. There we go.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm so good. It's so good to see you.
See you. I'm gonna switch my view so I can look right at you.
Oh, you're nailing it.
Hi.
Hi. I am so excited to see you. I'm so excited to catch up. But the first thing I do have to do really quick is just get through an ad read. I'm so sorry. This is always the most awkward part of these. This week's episode of 39-Minute Conversations is not technically presented by books, I guess. That's what it's come down to, folks. Our sponsor today is the concept of reading books. SAG-AFTRA has asked their members and potential members to avoid advertising AMPTP films and television shows. New ones, old ones, doesn't matter. If it was made by a strike company, you're not going to hear me promote it as long as this strike is going on. Now, I'm not a SAG-AFTRA member, but full disclosure, I am SAG eligible. I've acted in a few things, done some background acting in a few things, and the only reason I haven't joined the union to this point is I haven't been pursuing acting to the degree that I've pursued writing. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to one day. So the same way pre-WGA writers have been supporting our strike, I want to support SAG-AFTRA's strike and follow their rules to the best of my ability. Did two wildly different but equally exciting movies come out this weekend to massive success? Do the writers, filmmakers, and actors deserve praise and credit and fair pay for their amazing work? Is it a perfect example of the value of great writers and performers and how much the studios need us? Absolutely. But will you hear me mention the names of those movies or promote them in any way? Not until the strike is over. So instead, my ad read today is books. And I'll be honest, I'm not great at reading anymore. I used to love to. I want to love to. My phone has killed my attention span. For the most part, since I started writing professionally, the only things I've been reading are scripts and books that I've been sent to consider adapting. And in a lot of ways, reading has felt like work for the last few years. And I just want to use this time to rediscover reading for pleasure, not putting down a book just because I can't see it working as a movie. I got a collection of them just collecting dust right now. I've kept buying them over the years, but they're just sitting. But starting today, that ends. Until we can talk publicly about the movies and shows we love, let's read some books, I guess. And hello, I am Brian T. Arnold, and this is 39-Minute Conversations, a podcast about reconnecting with old friends and making new ones. But I've only got 39 minutes to do it because I am not paying for Zoom Pro. My guest today is a very talented writer. She is a first-generation Filipina-American, born in Germany, raised in a dusty little army town in Oklahoma. No stranger to grief, she has found comfort in the uncomfortable and gravitates toward telling stories to balance heartbreak and resilience. Her credits include, and these are not endorsements or promotions, just factual information, a matter of public record, the CW's Walker, the CBS Diversity Comedy Showcase, and an iOS house sketch team. Please, well, that one I can probably say. That one's fine. Please welcome my friend, one of my favorite people, Geri Carillo.
Oh my God. Hi, Brian.
Oh my God. Hi, Geri. Geri, do you read books?
I, as you were going through your spiel, I was gonna suggest to you, I too had the same problem of I couldn't read more than 3 pages and without falling asleep. But audiobooks. Audiobooks.
Does that count as reading?
Consuming literature. And then but what I was gonna say is after having a time of listening to a lot of audiobooks, it brought me back to the pages. You're you just get the cadence of a novel, and then you don't fall asleep when you open it and try to read it yourself. It's great. I'm reading paper books now, Brian.
What?
I'm back. Yeah. And so I'm gifting that to you to hopefully turn it around for you.
I've listened to a couple audiobooks in the last, I want to say recently, but it wasn't that recent. And I feel like that might help. I think that's a solid idea, but it's like listening to a podcast. I feel like I couldn't tell somebody I read this book if I heard this book. You know what I mean?
That's the one little think we just have to say I consumed or I finished this book.
Ooh, finished is good.
I finished. Someone else read it to me.
Like a child, which is exactly what I think I need right now.
Listen.
Geri, it is genuinely so good to see you. It has been way too long. We got very close when we were working together. We both wrote on that showcase that I mentioned that I won't promote. And it's been a few years since we saw each other. We lost touch, and you know, I know that a lot of that's on me. I was very like shut in during the pandemic, but like no matter how long it's been, you're one of my favorite human beings. I'm so glad that we're getting to do this today.
Brian, yeah, I'm really glad about it too. I was trying to remember the last time I saw you, and you did come when I worked at CBS. You came on a lot. I remember.
I think that was the last time.
No,
no,
was it the last time? You're reading in Pan Pacific Park.
Yes, but
I think that was the last time.
I think you're right. I think we saw each other for like a minute, and then like I had to like, it was a reading of a pilot that I wrote with a friend of mine, not currently AMPTP attached, so like we can talk plenty about it. But like I saw you for a minute, and then I lost you, and then we just didn't see. But I was so happy to see you there, and I'm glad we're doing this again.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And I realized today too, you were the very first person I met for Showcase.
Right, but yeah. You were my first person. Yeah. We were standing outside, like just trying to figure out where to, like just waiting on people to get there, right? Like trying to figure out where to go.
I think we were at the wrong entrance. So full circle. Now you and I are here.
Now we're at the right entrance together. Look at us. We found our way.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I do try to start these interviews in kind of the same way. During the deep, dark days of the pandemic, which, I kind of turned into a bit of a shut-in. I was working on, I was writing, but not really leaving my house very much. But I've missed like performing. I missed being social. So that's why I kind of created this podcast, just to catch up with people that I'd lost touch with. So I do want to start with, how has this time been for you? How did you stay sane? What did you learn about yourself? Maybe how is 2023 Geri different than 2019 Geri?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, yeah.
I know.
Yeah. It feels like so long ago, right? But it wasn't actually. Well, on paper, like my career really did well over the pandemic years. Like I'm very, very happy and pleased with what happened there. But what else? I mean, I think that happened for a lot of people. Like it was just hard to see people, and like right before shutdown, I don't know if this was the same case for you, but like I was like doing like networking like 4 or 5 days out of the week, like drinks, dinners, brunches, like, and then when we couldn't do that anymore, for me personally, I really evaluated like, wait, like why why do you have to do this? What's the urge to do it? And I saved a lot of money. Not going out networking for but yeah, and actually, so 2019, I was working for my boss at as her term deal assistant at CBS. You came to visit our little bungalow.
I did. It was nice.
Yeah, and then tail end of 2019, she got Walker. Great. Which were
I almost want to bleep that out. I almost want to bleep it.
She got the show. Anywho, whatever. Asked if I knew anyone who wanted to be support staff, writer's assistant, and script coordinator. I was like, here's a big list of resumes, but also mine's on top. And I think she definitely always has my best interest in mind. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, and then writer's assistant turned into staffing, and now I'm here. And now we're on strike.
Which is like a path that I've talked to a few writers about this, like CW especially, at least before it's gone through all these changes recently, was kind of one of the last bastions of like, we are going to help you grow. Like whether or not that's their goal, the rooms at least seem to, like, we hire young writers, we help them move up. They move up levels and levels and levels on our stuff, and they get to go to set. They get to do all these things that like writers don't get to go and do on streaming shows and a lot of other cable shows and different things nowadays. Was that your experience? Was that a good experience writing that show, getting to go to set and kind of build up your career in that way?
Yeah. So the first two seasons, no one went, well, so the first day of the show was March 9th, 2020. I feel like I should say that.
Yeah,
And
that sounds familiar.
yeah, kind of an important date. And then 4 days later, shutdown was issued, shelter in place was issued. So we went to Zoom and actually never went back to an in-person room. So no one went to set first season. Second season, I think it was mostly just like upper levels and like not frequent. I'm so sorry. Did you hear that?
I did. Was it your
I'm
cat?
sorry.
That's okay.
She's needy. But and then third season, everyone finally got to go. So yes, finally made it up there. And it's great. And we have a great crew and everyone seems happy. Everyone gets the job done fast.
And you were still working on that like right before the strike was called, or about to go back to work on that?
Actually, our room had wrapped like end of January or early February. And then post wrapped, I think like in April. So like no one had to stop work. But we didn't know if it was picked up. And then 2 weeks into the strike, it was announced that it was picked up. So,
okay, so in theory, you have a job to go back to.
Theory,
yeah.
In theory, yeah, and hopefully, yeah.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also like, I don't know how far into the future is that, Ryan? I don't know.
It's really, really hard to tell right now. It does feel like this thing is, I knew, going in, the last one was like 100 days, and this one, like, people were saying would be at least that or longer. We haven't even hit 100 days yet, even though it feels very much extended.
Yeah.
So yeah, just how are you holding up during all this? How are you dealing with it? How are you, that's it. That's the end of that. I don't know why I kept trailing off. Just go ahead. You can start.
No, I mean, I too had mentally prepared for the 100 days, right? Like you're saying. And I think it feels long now because like we're in the summer and when that one was in the fall, right? Fall into winter, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
The heat is really like an extra factor in it all. And but I actually I was visiting my parents last week. So I took a week off picketing, but today was my first day back and it was like you miss like your home picket location. And I guess what I'm trying to say is like I missed the full week of like the actors' first week in the trenches with us. Not that they haven't been there the whole time,
right? But like officially, like on their own strike now.
Yeah, and so so that's been interesting. And like, yeah, it feels like there's more uncertainty.
Yeah.
with the addition of their guild striking too. So yeah, I mean, I really try to not worry about things that are beyond my control, and this is absolutely so beyond like my control, way above my pay grade. So it has to end.
It will end at some point. They will have to give in to some degree. I'm sure we will too, to some degree. There'll be some kind of meeting point of nobody gets everything they want. But yeah, I mean, this is old news at this point, but that Deadline article both like pissed me off and galvanized. Like, for people who aren't familiar, the Deadline article came out a couple weeks ago, and it was basically anonymous Hollywood executives saying their plan was to starve out writers until October, end of October. Once they start losing their houses and their apartments, like, they'll really take a worse deal. And if their goal was to scare us, like, it definitely pissed us off more than it scared us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not having a paycheck until October, November is a little scary, and it's really shitty that that's something that we're facing right now.
It's scary. It is shitty. But I also think, though, like, I don't know, this career itself, the industry, right? Like, no guarantees ever, right?
Sure.
Like, anything can be taken away at any single point. And so that's the people they're dealing with. A bunch of insane people who are like, yeah, I bet on myself. I'm going to do this. And this is the career I choose. And yeah, I don't know. I think we're built for this. And
I think so.
Yeah.
You mentioned missing your home picket and the camaraderie that you've kind of found there. If you don't mind people basically knowing where you are all the time, what's your home picket location? Where do you like to go?
So I moved to North Hollywood last year, almost a year now. And so Warner Brothers is like a quick jaunt away. It's actually equidistant to like Radford and Universal.
Well,
and
now
so
I can triangulate your exact position. Like, you're really giving it away now.
I'm going to share my location with you. Yeah, but mostly Warner Brothers. I haven't been back to Radford since the temperatures got really hot. Just like, what's the shade situation there?
None.
I hope
None.
No, zero. Yeah. So it's of concern, man. Like, I don't know about you, but today was wild, and it wasn't even.
Yeah, it's going to be hotter this week.
Yeah.
I'm not going to criticize the guild on most things. I am 100% behind our guild. But when they started releasing like the schedule of like cutting the hours of picketing in the valley, wonderful. It's hot in Hollywood too. Like, maybe cut everybody's hours.
I'm glad you're saying it, because I too, like, I don't know, not to just co-sign everything you said, but to co-sign everything you said. Yeah, I said that today in the valley. I was like, I feel kind of bad that the other pickets don't also have it cut. Yeah, it's hot everywhere, right?
I did go to Sony last week, and just like, the further west you go, obviously it starts getting cooler. That didn't let Sony pick it, or Amazon, let them pick it all day if they want to. But like everybody else, let us go home. We're hot. We're tired. It's
bonkers. Or like, yeah, I don't know. We just can't have people dropping like flies,
Yeah, and I'm a captain at Paramount now, so that's something that we are very aware of. And thank you. I am just saying that to brag and to get compliments from you. No, but since I started captaining at Paramount, that is something that like our language has changed from like occasional chanting and support to being like, are you drinking water? Are you putting on sunscreen? That's most of our jobs now.
Yeah, it's serious.
It is.
Like, yeah. So, yeah. And then I don't know why, but like now I'm trying to like develop a workout plan outside of picketing too. My brother's getting married in October, so it's a whole like.
Oh yeah, you gotta look good for that.
Look, I'm just trying to, but I don't know if spiritually it's the right thing for me.
I am with you. I went, my girlfriend's very into like health and fitness stuff, and I think this is her first official mention on the podcast. You're welcome.
I was gonna say, Brian, oh my God, congratulations.
Oh my God, thank you. But she's very into like health and fitness stuff, and so I would be like, she's like, oh, did you like work out today? Did you get any like? I'm like, I picketed for like 3 hours, 4 hours, and she's like
14,000 steps.
And she's like, that's not working out. That's like, why are you so tired after? And then like she picketed with me on last week, and she was like, I'm so tired. I was like, see, do you see it? This counts. So I hear you, because I'm not doing like weights or yoga or anything, which I should be doing, but at the same time, this wears you out. Picketing is exhausting.
It really is. Like, yeah. Again, the heat is a huge factor.
Okay, so the one thing that I'm coming back to this again because I'm a terrible interviewer, but we're talking about the camaraderie of your home bases and your home pickets. And I was talking to somebody who, this is like the most social I've been in a long time. And I was talking to somebody who's like, this is the first time as a writer that I felt like I have coworkers, because I think that's so true, especially for like feature writers, because you're always so locked in that this is like such a rare thing. So as much as this sucks existentially and in the moment, like the camaraderie out there on the picket line and the friendships and the people you're talking to, like I don't know if there's any other way for that to happen. Has that been your experience as well?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, like our writers' room went on Zoom and then never came back.
Right.
So even my coworkers, like people I would see Monday through Friday, I would see them shoulders up.
Sure.
And we would have like some
Whose body surprised you the most when you saw them in person?
Just well, I don't know. Honestly, we have a lot of tall humans in
Good answer. Good answer. You made it not weird. Good job.
Thank you. But yeah, and then I joined the WGA in 2021. I'm a relatively new member.
So did I.
It was during pandemic years, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, like it's still going, pandemic's still going
Yeah.
on, but whatever. They haven't really done a lot of in-person events, right? And yeah, I think like the first in-person event I attended run by the guild was like a week before the strike was called.
Sure.
And yeah, so now being like, when else would you meet other writers other than this thing that we all have to do and need to do? And it's a lot of time. Even I think I ran into my boss one of the first few weeks, and I was like, actually, like I never really get to just like chat and walk with her for like for an extended amount of time. So so it's been nice to see coworkers and make new friends, and then keep seeing those same friends at your home picket or elsewhere. Make arrangements, go with people.
That is nice. Anybody who's not picketing, you're missing out. It's hot, but we're having a blast. Kind of. I was the other day, I was like, I did have that image in my head of, do you watch Community? Are you a Community fan?
Yeah. Oh, I love Community.
That's one of my favorite shows. But when Donald Glover is like, has to wear a pantsuit and is like dance crying, like he's crying while he's dancing, I was like, that's just what picketing feels like, because we are dancing, we're keeping our spirits up. Yeah. But boy, it's emotional at the same time.
Emotional. Yeah. Yeah. Try not to think too much about like what, honestly, doesn't it seem like a terrible business idea to start us out till October? Like that doesn't seem right for like quarter over quarter earnings, which they deeply care about. It just seems dumb, but also, are they monsters? Yeah.
I read a tweet. I'm off Twitter, but I saw this tweet somewhere else. David Sims, critic for The Atlantic. I'm a big fan of his writing. There's stories starting to come out about studios considering moving their later fall releases to next year because their actors won't be around to promote them because obviously the strike could still be going. And his basic point was like, if the studios would rather move these huge releases than negotiate a fair deal, then they're even stupider than I thought. And I hate to put it in those black and white terms, but yeah, that's real dumb. That's real dumb.
Really, really dumb. So, and cruel.
And cruel. It is cruel. I think we should probably move on from strike talk, but I could do this. Right. I could do this the whole time. But people need to get to know you. Like, we need to know who you are beyond a striking, wonderful writer. And a lot of my listeners, a lot being a very relative term, are pre-WGA. They're looking for their break. They're looking their way into the business. So I do like to talk to writers about how they got started, how they got their foot in the door, So we're going to get into your background and move on up and see how far we can get in our remaining time. You were born in Germany, raised in Oklahoma. How old were you when you moved to the States? And what was it like growing up in a rural area, knowing like, I'm going to be a writer one day?
I was 7 when we moved to Oklahoma, and
Do you still speak German?
9. That's in German.
That one I got.
Yeah. No, but I went to like American school, like on an army base,
Sure.
but a German woman would come once a week, teach us like a little German. At one point, I could count up to 20.
Mm.
Those days are long gone.
I can only count to like 4 or 5, whatever they counted to in Cool Runnings. That's about as high as I can. Eins, fein, dry.
That's 3. Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I got.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, and then we moved to another army town in Oklahoma, but it was I guess it's rural. It was okay.
So your bio says small, dusty army town. Are we saying
it is small and dusty compared to LA, which
sure?
can still be dusty, but
it's a very dusty city.
it's a very dusty place. Yeah, it's funny. I went home to visit my parents in Oklahoma last year, and before then I hadn't been in several years, pandemic and all.
Yeah.
And my parents, like, immediately when I stepped into the door, they were like, have all these notebooks, have like all of these like little things from like when I was in 1st and 2nd grade that are like, you know, those little prompts that are like, when I grow up, I want to be. And almost always it said writer. Occasionally it said psychologist.
Sure.
But sometimes it said writer. And more than not, it said writer. And then they handed me all of these like little stories I would write that kind of have like no ending, but so it was fun to go through all that. And yeah, I don't know, I always liked writing, but my parents, I don't know if they right away saw it as a career.
Sure.
Well,
neither does the AMPTP, am I right?
That's my parents too. Yeah, so I have a biology degree.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a biology degree. And I from a liberal arts school, but I graduated college in 3 years instead of 4. Came in
Humble
with
brag.
a good, humble brag. I came in with a handful of credits, but my 2nd year, 2nd, 3rd year, whatever, I was like, hey mom, like, what do you think about like switching majors? Do you think I could switch majors? Which, like, pause. I know a lot of people are like, why would you have to ask your mom to switch majors? But this is a very like, cultural thing.
Sure, of course.
Anywho, so I asked my Filipino mom if I could switch majors. She was like, no. She was like, I don't think that's a great idea. You know, what'll we do? Like, you may lose your scholarship. Like, we'll have to pay more tuition. I don't know if we can do that. And so I was like, okay, I'll just take this biology degree. And then I don't know, I always wanted to write. I had like on the sides of my like biology notes would be like little stories or like little like phrases and of dialogue that I wanted to like put into things. And anywho,
when did you realize it was TV like specifically that you wanted to write? Was that always, or was that something that came later?
I honestly like watched more TV than movies growing up. Yeah. And yeah, I think it probably came like I went to this film school, not film school in San Francisco.
Okay.
Like it was like a 1-year intensive course, not accredited. And
Sure.
yeah. And like, I don't know, making all these short films, I was like, okay, but then what happens after? What happens after? And I just
I know, 10 minutes. We can do it. We can do it.
Anywho, no, television seems like a great career. You know what I mean? Longevity. and like it's stories that can just keep going. I always feel like such a hypocrite because sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't watch a lot of movies because I don't have the time commitment, but then I will binge like 6 episodes of like a show.
Sure. Priorities. Shows are more your thing. This is your world.
Exactly. Yeah. So more television. And then yeah, when I moved to LA, I took like sketch writing classes, spec writing classes. I already went through how I got to working for my boss. But yeah, I think what it is like you have to stay ready. You have to stay hungry but not thirsty. And
Ooh, I've never heard that before. Is that new? Is that a Geri original?
you know, I'm sure other people have said it, but I say it a lot.
Yeah, it's you. I like that. Stay
all right.
hungry, not thirsty. Break that down for my parents who don't understand.
Okay, well, like, yeah, you have to be hungry. You have to want it, but don't be thirsty. Don't roll up on people and just assume that they owe you something right away. Like, always be grateful. And yeah, if you're ready and you have your materials and like an opportunity opens up to work with and for nice people, then a lot of doors open up.
Yeah.
I think ultimately everyone wants to work with like a nice person, a kind person, someone that seems genuine versus like, yeah, a thirsty
And if they
person.
can't find that, they'll work with you.
Right. Yes. I'm
Got
hiring.
it. Now we met in the context of this sketch comedy show that we both wrote for. It was, we wrote there for free because studios love that. They love getting free work out of you. With the expectation that it was going to do a lot for our careers, I think that was not the case for most people. Some of the actors, maybe. I think for the writers, not as much. But I have mixed feelings about that time. I think a lot of us do, because I met amazing people, amazing friends, an amazing community, but it was a lot of up and down. What did you take away from our time writing for Redacted Showcase?
Well, clearly this incredible friendship with you.
Oh my God, thank you. I was waiting for that.
Yeah, I know. But truly, the people were the best thing about that whole experience. I believe we were the last crop under the
old administration.
and the last crop that did not get paid, right? Like
I think that's true.
Other years after the writers would get paid. Yeah, so but I don't remember who had told me this, but someone was like, just wait like 4 or 5 years after your crop and then start to see all the names that were in your, that were on your breakdowns or whatever on television. And that actually has been really nice to see.
It has been. It really has been.
Yeah. And I also think, that whole experience was like in the trench. Why did it feel so important, Brian? You're doing it for free. Like,
that's the weird thing about anything creative, especially like anything under pressure, like a showcase or even a sketch show, anything like that, you're from an army family. You were in army towns. You're from an army family. So this is a terrible metaphor, but it did feel kind of like we were going to war every day. That's how much, at least that's how much importance we were putting on it. And, our commanders were terrible, but we were in the foxholes together.
Oh my God. Also, our year was over the 2016 election. I
am
having so many flashbacks. I just remember sitting in residuals, like waiting for the breakdown to come, but then we were also watching the election results roll in, and it was like everyone feels like shit today.
Yeah. I didn't go to the residuals election night. I went to like a party, like some of my friends had, and it was like an election party to watch the good stuff happen. And it did. I don't know if you felt like if that was what was happening at residuals, but where I was, it was like, I imagine this is what it was like just being on the Titanic, because we're here having a nice time, and now we're just watching tragedy unfold.
It's going down.
Yeah.
Real slow, but it's definitely going down. Yeah, it was really heartbreaking. And then the next day, We all had to show up
and do sketches.
do sketches, laugh at some funnies, write on the fly, rehearse with it. Anyway,
I didn't expect to get into the 2016 election on this podcast today, but we're doing it. We're doing it.
Well, when you said you were going to a party, I was about to be like, Brian.
A party, but a different party. It wasn't a party the next day. It was a party. It was a hopeful party the day before. Don't paint me with that. I know my hat's red.
I'm from Oklahoma. You're from. Listen. You're wearing a red hat. Like, you're from West Virginia. Like, just have to be clear about these things.
Like I said, I'm not gonna discredit the WGA on many things. Red was the wrong color for our hats.
Fair.
I don't think these weren't even official WGA hats. These were like a donor, but still, like, just pick a different color, you know?
No, there's so many colors.
There's so many colors. Oh my God. Geri, we have about 3 minutes and 35 seconds left. So I want to, before we go into other areas and get even deeper and deeper into stuff, what I want to know, I want to give you this opportunity to let people know where they can follow you, anything that you want to plug right now, be careful. But anything like that, where can people follow you, etc., and where can people stalk you at the studios?
The plug feels like a trap. You know, there have been several things that say don't cancel your subscriptions. So, you know, if you happen to find something on one of those subscriptions where my name is on it, please, you know, maybe give it a watch. Maybe just play it, walk out of the room, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, whatever gets you residuals. That's I think that's why we're not like calling for a boycott or anything, because it's like, yeah, we don't want to hurt the writers and actors who made them.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm on Instagram like almost primarily. I do have a Facebook, but I'm really not on it. But on Instagram I am Geri Cari, GeriCari.
I'll put it in the notes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and yeah, that's where people can find me. And then I'm in the Valley, and I promise I'll try to make it to Netflix. I've made this.
I'm not at Netflix. I'm at Paramount. You gotta come there. You gotta come hang out at Paramount.
On occasion.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Please come hang out at Paramount. I'll be there. I'm there most days.
And well, yeah, I guess there are only morning. Do you do right at 9?
No, I do the afternoon. I'm the afternoon picket. They haven't cut our hours. I'm usually
like
11.
You're 11 to 2.
Like 11:30 to 2 on Monday through Thursday, and 11 to 1 on Fridays. I do take like a day or two off a week, but like we'll talk, we'll connect.
I'll try. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll connect about that. Oh, you'll try. What do I have to do to see you in person again? Do I have to go up to Warner Brothers?
Oh, I mean, you should, but I'll come to Paramount, Brian.
Okay,
We'll make
it happen. Geri, with our about a minute left, this is the time of the podcast where we get into like the deep stuff, where I really get to know your soul inside and out. You know, that's what this is kind of all about at the end. Geri, what would you say is the meaning of life?
The meaning of life is to be happy, feel satisfied with how you lived on this earth, and leave a mark if you want, but also you don't have to if that's not what you want.
If you could live forever, would you want to?
No, I don't think so. That feels like my body would hate me. My body hates me now. Like,
Where is your happy place? Where do you go? What happiest place in the world for you?
On an airplane.
Really?
Honestly.
Why?
I sleep so well on an airplane. I don't know. It just rocks me to sleep. I'm asleep before the flight attendants like start teaching you how to buckle your seatbelt. Like I'm out like a light.
Is there a God?
Your meeting has ended. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to 39 Minute Conversations, hosted and produced by Brian T. Arnold. Music by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and tune in for new episodes, and don't forget to rate and review. If you didn't like what you heard, please don't do any of that. That's okay too. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe and be well.